There we go.
President Zelensky spent a full day here in Washington yesterday. He had an all-senators meeting. He met with the House Speaker. He met with the President. No minds appear to be changed as a result of all of the meetings that he had. So what did he accomplish by coming here to Washington?
Yeah, boy.
Negotiations are still happening. So we'll see. I think, look, President Zelensky has made multiple trips here before. This is someone who speaks passionately. He's the leader of a country that's at war against Russia, who invaded their country. I remember listening to him talk about what they're going through, the children, the people, the folks who have lost their lives, who have lost everything. I mean, who else is it better to hear from directly than President Zelensky?
Boy, that's funny.
And I think it was an important visit for him to be here. I think it was incredibly important for him to talk to senators, for him to talk to House members, for him to stand right here in the White House next to President Biden to answer your questions and to speak very forcefully and passionately about what's going on. Almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. Just think about the lives that they've lost. But yet, they fought very bravely, very bravely. And so I think it was good that President Zelensky, the president was happy to host him here and have a conversation with him, and I think it was important for him to be here.
Question on Wood, please.
Does the White House have a plan to address what is likely going to be a wave of legislation in state houses next year restricting LGBTQ rights and gender-affirming care? For example, there's already more than 20 of these kind of bills in Missouri.
I mean, look, we saw something very similar just last year, right? In the last, I wouldn't say last year, but in the last state legislative session, where more than 400 anti-LGBTQ bills, many were anti-trans bills that were introduced, and we were very forceful. The president was, I was from here calling that out. Of course we're concerned. Of course we're concerned with any community is under attack. And so, what the president is going to continue to do from here, he's going to make sure that we work to advance equality for the LGBTQ plus community and protect civil rights, which is something that he's done. He's signed executive orders to do that from the federal agencies to make sure we protect LGBTQ families, and he's going to continue to ask Congress to pass the Equality Act. And Department of Justice certainly has worked towards challenging these state laws. And so that is something that he's certainly going to, his administration are going to continue to fight on behalf of this community. So are we concerned? Absolutely. And I said 400, there is actually more than 600 state legislation that was filed in the last session. So yeah, that's concerning. And that's sadly a historic number, and something that we don't want to see.
No.
Thank you. Thanks, Karine. You said that President Biden was familiar with what his son was going to say on Capitol Hill. If I called my dad and said, I am about to violate a congressional subpoena, he'd probably say, son, you shouldn't do that. Was there any attempt by President Biden to talk Hunter out of it today?
Can I call your dad Steve?
Call him Dad, usually.
Look, I don't have anything else to add. The president was familiar with what Hunter was going to say today. Look, he's proud of his son. He and the First Lady are proud of his son, how he's rebuilding his life back. He's going to focus on what is needed on the American people. Hunter, and I've said this many times, is a private citizen. And so certainly I would have to refer you to his representatives. I'm just not going to get into private conversations because what you're asking me is actually a private conversation. I'm just not going to get into it.
First briefing since Hunter was indicted again in Los Angeles. Why doesn't President Biden just pardon him?
President, I've been very clear. The president's not going to pardon
And
his
one
son.
more.
Boom. Bam. Bop.
About these this Ukraine money for border policy negotiations. In the last 24 hours, 10,000 illegal border crossings, southwest border. Would you admit that the border policy, the Biden border policy so far has not worked?
What I will say is that we have known for decades, that the immigration policy is, the immigration system is broken.
Alrighty then.
We've said that over and over again. That has been Republican administration and Democratic administration. That is not unheard of. That is what we have seen for the past couple of decades. The president has put forth an a comprehensive immigration policy legislation on his first day to deal with this issue. Republicans refuse. They refuse to deal with this issue.
Are you serious?
It's been almost 3 years since he put forth that legislation. So we're going to do what we can do from here, but we have said this is something that needs to be dealt with in a bipartisan way,
About 1,000 of these illegal border crossers every day are getting away to parts unknown in the U.S. Does the president think that is a national security risk?
Here's what I'll say. One of the ways that we also have to look at this is what congressional Republicans have refused to do. They refused to support previous requests from the president. What they've asked to do actually hurts the issue, hurts the problem that we're seeing at the border. They said no to border agents. They've said no to new technology to fight fentanyl. They said no to additional aids now.
Really?
I'm gonna take one more question. Go ahead, Jared.
Has there been on that issue any discussion about separating out, at this point, Ukraine money from the rest of the security supplemental?
I'm just not going to get into negotiations from here. I'm going to let the negotiators have the conversations. I'm just not going to do that from here. All right, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Bye.
Well, we're waiting.